Hey, what's up, nerdies, and welcome to a Nerdy Bunch weekly review for Invincible Season 3. My name's Dave, and joining me because he's pissed off that people can't figure out how to make an email address, my co-host Andrew. What's up, Andrew?
What's up, David?
How did that moment make you feel?
Made me feel pissed like shit.
We're here to talk episode 5 of Season 3 of Invincible. Andrew, after last week's craziness and massive reveals, there's only less than 50 left. Oh my god, there's crazy sexy time happening. Oh my gosh. This episode decides, let's just chill.
Just a little bit.
Just chill a little bit. Just a little bit. Slow things down. See what other people are doing. Just kind of reevaluate where people stand. And but at the same time plant some seeds for what's to come. Spoiler free. What did you think of this episode?
This episode had one of the top 50 most messed up things I've ever seen in an animation, to me. I mean, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you will after the spoilers, I say that to just mean, it was a slow down episode in terms of what was happening, but at the same time, it was still a lot happened. We see, like you said, I like that we get to focus not just on the intergalactic, but also on the happenings on Earth, right? Yeah. There's actually a lot going on at the same time. And I'm enjoying the fact that it's not always like super high octane, but it kind of is at the same time, right? Like there are moments, at least 2 or 3 moments where I like semi jumped off my seat, right? Which just shows how hype it was. So I'm really enjoying it. I continue to feel for Mark. I just really feel for him, right? He's just a chill guy. He's just trying to have a good time. If anything, I have some nitpicks randomly about some animation moments, but that's been ongoing, and I'm just gonna kind of park that to the side because it's neither here nor there. Top 50 most like visually like moments of animations.
I like this episode just purely for the return of a fan favorite character. I won't mention who it is, but every time I see this character, I'm like, yes, I'm in. It's one of those characters where it's like the depiction of what I thought the character would be in my head reading the comic book versus what we get on screen. I would never have guessed, and I love it in every way. When I talk about this episode slowing things down, it's also literally in some of the character narratives decide to slow things down. Let's chill. It's by design that we're slowing things down.
Set things up.
Setting things up for the future and also subverting some of our expectations. There are moments where you're like, oh, the character's going to do that. And they're like, oh, do they though?
Nope.
Do they though? Oh, they got us.
Thanks for your help, though.
in a nice way. And also it plays with Mark. We talk about how Mark, his black and white view on things, right? Sometimes it's good when he puts his foot down against Cecil.
Yeah.
He's like, no, wrong is wrong. Right is right. But then sometimes it's not so clear.
It's not.
And I think through this episode, he kind of learns that lesson a little bit more.
Yeah.
That he has blind spots.
Yeah.
Emotional and literal. And there's certain things that he needs he can't always just be like, nope, wrong is wrong, right is right. Because there are circumstances where it's not so clear because of the multiple parties that are involved. And then also, as much as I love that the beginning of the season started off with us seeing Mark, full peak strength, all that kind of stuff. What I like what the show's done is that wasn't a narrative crutch, because sometimes when you overpower a character, then it's like, well, what now? There's never any stakes, but it's found ways to kind of be like, okay, well, he may be physically strong, but there are other ways we can hurt him. Right. In the previous episodes, we had the gun that the Mauler twins made that knocks out your nervous system.
Yeah.
And it was just like, well, it can be strong as hell, but nervous system is nervous system. Well, doesn't matter how strong you are.
Hacking his brain. It's like...
Right. And then this episode, we get a moment where characters just like, well, your powers may be this, but my powers are. So, and in a way that makes sense, right? Where, like you mentioned, we go so far in one direction in terms of space and the cosmic side, but this is showing us that there's other directions.
Like there's more than space, boy.
There are other places to go. All right, let's get fully into the episode. I'll get some of the smaller stories out of the way first before we get into the major plot points. Let's talk about Oliver sneaking out. Before that, Oliver, mixing up the names. Mark and Eve pretending like having sexy time, like, oh yeah, let me go out the window and knock on
was
the
like,
door.
why would you fly out the window? It's just,
Oliver's such a little brother. I love those
it's
home
like,
sequences because it's reminding us that as much as they're super powered, they're still a family.
yeah,
Like Oliver and like a lot of times we see Mark more as a parental figure to Oliver because of the
yeah.
age
So it's
gap.
a big brother.
But this time he felt like a brother,
Yeah, they're
right?
kicking themselves under the table. Like, I was like, those are some heavy kicks. Like, if they mistakenly kick their mom, they'd
Right.
probably break her. Oh my god. He's like, they
And
weren't sleeping.
they were up all night.
They're making noise. He was like, yeah, we're watching a movie. And just to jump now, I like how his mom was like later, I knew you're having sex, but
Right,
I'm
right.
like,
Well, she knew,
mom.
but then we get the signs all along, right? Mom was like, "Oh, I left an extra plate out just in case."
Like, she's like,
I'm not
please.
stupid. And I love all that because again, as much as Invincible is invincible, he's still a kid. He
It's
still has
still,
a
it's
mom.
actually still a boy,
He's still a
young boy.
boy. Even moments where there's a moment I can't remember which episode. I don't know if it's the last episode where he gets a message and he's like, "Oh shit," and looks at his mom. And is like, "Oh, sorry." You know, moments like that where he's still a certain way around his mom.
Yeah,
But
I love that.
the the interesting moment is when Oliver goes missing, and I like when Invincible's like, "Should we ask Cecil? He has cameras everywhere."
Like now you're thinking, she's
But
probably new.
they go and find him playing with some kids, and I love the moment where they're like, "No, don't use your powers. You have to try it yourself." Did you feel, and I'm sure you did, at some point he's going to either hurt himself and use his powers, get pissed off for using powers, or kill the shit out of those bullies? How was that build up for you?
All the above. So when he fell face flat, I was like, oh my gosh, because then the other kids started laughing. I was like, oh my god, he's
Right?
gonna be like, don't laugh at me.
He's gonna like float in
um,
the air, like,
yeah,
duh.
and then the bully one was chef's kiss by them because I know they knew that we knew that. I thought Max he was going to like push the guy too hard, right?
Yes, yes.
Not what he did. What he did was honestly perfect. Like,
So perfect.
especially for a kid too. Like, just thinking, how can I embarrass them? Like, I hope I don't know the comics obviously disclaimer, but I hope Oliver kind of continues this trajectory, even if he gets a little dark. I like that he's kind of subverting the like. Trust me, I'm strong enough to know that I could kill all of you, but like whatever. I also can embarrass you, which might be a little bit better actually. but I think we're going to see those bullies again. I don't necessarily think that that interaction is done. But let's see. Yeah, but shout out Oliver for now, being able to control himself for
I
now.
did like it's also a lesson for Mark
Mark.
because Mark was ready to go and Eva was like, no, just wait. Because understandably, right? Mark saw him last episode
Yeah,
kill people,
yeah,
and this is a bunch of kids. So you're like, I'm not quite sure.
yeah. But then to Oliver's fairness, I mean, he killed superhuman blue people. I mean, I don't know if that's fair or not, right? But I guess he kind of has a distinction, at least for now, right? He's like, I
Yeah,
can
for
tell
now.
these are human kids versus blue guys who are trying to kill everybody. It's almost honestly not the same thing. So I hope he keeps that energy because it's also very easy, I'm sure, for him to just eventually just one day be pissed off and be like, oh, whatever. But I again, I hope he kind of continues on this cheeky trajectory.
And I think part of it as well is he sneaks out, right? He's the one that seeks out the kids. It's not like mom is like, oh, I need to find some kids your age. So I think part of it is like, I don't want to lose this. I'm having
Yeah,
fun with these kids. I'm
yeah,
having fun just being a normal life,
yeah.
right? And 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 so he's not going to do anything to jeopardize it on
Jeopardize
purpose, at
that.
least,
Yeah,
right? And because he also knows that, or at least he's getting the sense that, especially with Mark talking to him, like, humans are humans. You go and kill a bunch of people in front of them, you're going to lose your friends. You can't
yeah,
just do that. What
yeah.
I find funny is that there's bullies in a world where we know superheroes exist, right? It's a fact.
And they see a purple guy and they're
And
making
you're just
jokes.
like, let's bully this purple guy. Like, what?
But again, bullies, right? Go figure.
Like, if I'm bullying you, I'm like, hey, superpower kid, show me your superpowers. At least acknowledge or realize that they have powers, probably,
Yeah,
most likely. Titan's like the main character this episode, right?
yeah,
Titan's an
yeah.
interesting character. Once voiced by Mahershala Ali, but I don't think he's voicing it this season. And he also reminds me of another show character we've been seeing in Spider-Man. I think he reminds me of Tombstone. The same kind of, at least a
Yes, for sure.
younger Tombstone.
Even a Luke Cage, if he was bad.
Right, right, yeah, yeah. It's a Luke Cage character, like Luke Cage mixed with Cottonmouth.
Yeah, that's a fair one. I like him. I love when he ran into his house looking for his daughter.
Oh,
That moment, yeah, I don't know why it was just so real, right? Like you felt for him a little bit in that moment because it's always funny when you see people trying to play both sides. Like,
mhm.
dude, you're a gangster, and then you're shocked. The order is like,
Coming after
oh,
your
your
family.
daughter, and like,
I've always
come
said
on,
that. I'm like, if
come
you're
on,
going to be
dude.
in that world, don't have a family. Like,
Or be aware. Don't be don't be acting brand new and shocked all of a sudden.
I mean, but that's kind of almost his trajectory to start off with, right? When he's just like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do anything they say, and then his right hand man Isotope's like, he
I
doesn't
really,
need you to do it. This is a
yeah.
test,
I really like. I love Isotope actually. It's probably in their org. He's going up there for me. He's such a
right?
key player. He does the right things.
He's just like,
Doesn't do
listen, I
too
know you're
much.
pissed, I know you're angry, but that guy turns to fucking dragon and eats people.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
there's that. Like, and I feel like at first Titan was like dragon, psh, whatever.
And not just that. I feel like even when you hear dragon, like I was even expecting like human sized dragon, right? I wasn't expecting like Eiffel Tower size. Like when it just kept growing, I was like, oh, 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 and then he started punching it, and it was like cotton
Nothing.
candy. Like it was literally like I was like, oh, and I won't get to the Mark fight yet, but like just in that initial one, I was like, oh damn, bro, you messed up. But I love the scene with him with his rock skin like being off, and then he just manages to get like just enough.
Yeah.
I think on him, it's nice to see people kind of push their powers
Mm-hmm.
to the limits a little bit. But damn, that dragon's strong.
Even when he went to ask Machine Head for help, Machine Head's like, oh, oh,
My favorite character of the
oh.
episode, coughing Sparks.
Right, right. Oh, you didn't think I wanted to do this? You didn't think I tried?
Like you better go kneel down and beg.
Right. And I love that interaction with Machine Head because again, jumping forward, they do a very good job of setting us up the way they set up Invincible for the whole
Yeah,
entire plan. Because when
yeah.
you realize the plan, you're like, oh, because I was
Even,
pissed when Isotope switched sides. How did you feel?
no, no. So yeah, I was pissed on ISO switch side, and at the end, I was like, what I couldn't figure out is to what extent was the plan. So the plan was to get Dragon to come to the prison. I guess so. The new Dragon would obviously attack
Yes.
Titan One, then go and free him himself. But like, it's still. Anyways, I guess the plan
No,
is never foolproof because
no,
there
the
were still a lot of
plan.
variables.
No,
Yeah.
the plan. Because again, don't forget, we don't see this whole conversation with Machine Head.
Yes.
Right, we
Yes.
get part of the
After.
conversation.
Yeah.
So the plan was essentially Machine Head was like, "Set me free, I help you out." So the
Yeah.
plan was to kind of get Dragon to attack, leave
To
his body vulnerable,
distract. Yeah.
and when he's doing that,
Gotcha. It's the full specifics. Yeah, because the whole point was his body was vulnerable. So that means they break him out, then go back
but
and
then on
deal
top of
with.
that, because the prison has force fields
Yeah.
that block teleportation,
Yeah.
the attack would take that down, so Isotope
Down.
can come
Down.
in,
Gotcha. That
take
was a
Machine Head.
specific.
Exactly. Because
That
there's a
was a
scene where you see Eve go into the prison cell and no one's
Yeah.
there. But you
Yeah.
hear the sound effect just before
Yeah.
of the
Oh my gosh,
teleportation.
dumb me. Because I remember hearing that and I was like, was that Multiply Man? Duh. Funny enough, wow, I can't believe I missed that because it's the same. They did that at the beginning of the episode, right?
Hmm.
When
Hmm.
Titan was walking and you just hear the sound and then the
I said
camera
no to
panned to
family
him.
time.
Yeah, so that was actually fine. Chef's kiss, silly
Hmm.
Andrew. Because that sound was perfect. But I was about to jump to Eve in the prison. Let me just stop back. So yeah, before we get there.
Let's go back a bit because I
Yes.
like that plan and I like what they do with Machine and with Titan.
Yeah,
In the comics we don't get into his family and the daughter and
that's
things
what
like
I
that.
heard. Yeah.
We don't even get into like how he is. The opening sequence you see that the neighborhood likes him. They're not fearful of him. They actually
No,
like him, right?
he,
Even to the point where they're
he's a
going to
nice
help him
guy.
out when it comes to Invincible chasing him. I thought, how is he going to get away? Like I was like, he's like, I can fly. I was like, yeah, he can fly. What's wrong
Yeah,
with you?
exactly.
But
That's so
just
funny. And
like,
it's like, wow, bro, do we all look the same to you? It's like,
wow.
don't do that to him. Don't gaslight him like that.
But
It's
that was a
just funny.
great plan because also
Yeah.
because Machine Head says at the end, it's like don't do what I did, underestimate him. Acknowledging that Titan is
Sounds
not just
pretty
a
smart.
rockhead,
It's a
right?
smart guy. Even though
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
fifty
he's fifty
percent
percent
rock.
rock.
Oh my gosh, best lines.
But again, I like that smart thing where he's someone who's a physical force, but
but
doesn't want
also,
attention.
yeah,
He wants to be subtle in the background. And he doesn't want to fight. Even at the end, he's just
yeah,
like, "You guys do your thing. I don't want anything part of this order. Just leave
yeah.
me."
Oh, I was 25% scared he was gonna get shot in the back.
I know, so did I.
Like
Especially with
it's
machine heads, how crazy he is. But he was having a pretty happy day. So
yeah.
you know.
It's like for this one time.
But I like how he's
Look
like,
at
"Will
me.
I?" He's almost like, "I'll kill him." No. Yes. No.
No, no. But before you go, know that insert crazy quote.
I will. No, I need to actually get the actual quote. Backstab me again. I'm going to drown you in your kid's blood while I tear off your wife's skin and eat her heart. And don't even eat meat. That's saying a lot.
Just like, okay.
Did you know? And I'm sure you knew, but you might have forgotten. But I ask you, do you know who does the voice?
A machine head?
Yeah,
I've definitely forgotten.
Michael Weston. Yeah,
Burners.
yes. You can
Ah,
hear it more and more. And I
no
think
wonder I love him so much.
he really like chews up the scene. Like I feel like he gives it his all. Like
Yeah, you
full
for
on.
sure. It's like
Like
Jude Law and Skeleton Crew.
right,
It's
right.
like, bro, did you need to do that much? I mean, I love it, but damn.
Let's go back. The escape, the multiple escapes, or multiple.
So that's the scene, man. That
Oof.
I mean, I watch a lot of TV. I'm not talking like horror movies or anything like that, but just like purely in an animation.
Mhm.
Top 50 just wildest. Just the fact that it was me thinking about him not being able to watch himself dying,
Not just
so that he
watch it;
could
he
get out.
feels it.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously the feel, but it's even like the, it's just fine. The combination, the feeling, the scene, it's just like too much. And then he didn't even escape.
Right? I mean, he did, but not then.
Not then. I mean, like,
Yes.
forget the later. I just meant like after all. So like
Oh,
you go back, and you're then sitting in your cell just thinking about all the murder that you just self committed
and
to
even then, right? I had a
murder
thought.
suicide.
You know, if you're like the physics of that, you're squishing yourself out. It's not like they all die as soon as you break out.
No, no. No,
Instantly. There's
I
probably
I
some
feel like
dying,
most aren't even probably aren't dead, right? It's probably like the outer layer, maybe, right? But then a lot of them are just like broken bones, probably like broken
right?
face, just like bleeding. Ah, the mush. Oh.
And even though you see the main one like hanging off the ceiling, almost
Hmm.
slips down.
And that's why he was like, oh, no. That
Oh,
scene
oh.
it was the boys would be proud.
And he even does the same with the collar, right? He literally the same thing with the collar,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
squeezing himself out of the
Multiple
collar.
is psycho. Every time we've seen him, we just see that. But I love that he's willing to go all the way. Like pain means nothing.
Though I did appreciate the creative parts where he's fighting, doing parkour off his own body, like bouncing
He,
off of himself.
like fighting with Eve, he like did it like a kick off, like he's
Right.
swimming off his own body. It's just
Hmm. And
yeah.
we get when he's talk with his sister, we get a flashback into their origin, which is similar to the comics. We don't. It doesn't go as deep as the comics. The comics goes super deep into like
Okay.
how they get their powers. It's based on like we were talking off podcast, like a family legacy curse. That's how their powers come from. It's more curse based as opposed to
Yeah.
science based, which is why the connection to Lou as well. I love when Liu says to Mark, your powers may be physical, but mine. What did he say? Something like mine.
Spiritual,
Uh,
out of not of this world or
yeah,
something. I
not of
can't
this
remember the
world or
exact
something like that.
phrase.
Just basically like magical, and it showcases that okay, magic and like occult and all that kind of stuff, supernatural powers can trump your physical powers.
Hmm.
But even their background, I love the dynamics between the two of them. Again, this episode talks about it plays in the gray areas too, right? We've got the gray area with how Mark looks at Titan and being like, "No, I don't want to help you," blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and then you have the gray areas of the siblings, right? She says to him, "You're a murderer." He says, "So are you." Like
Like he,
me working for the Order is no different to you working for the
it's
GDA.
not
What's the difference? The difference is I know
literally.
who I'm working for. Yeah, and I love that dynamic between the two of them. What did you think of seeing their flashback history? And did you notice the fact that in their training sequences as kids, they were just fighting multiples of each other?
And not just that, I feel like first, like I'm just thinking about the parents. Like, you have two kids, and all of a sudden you have 20 kids.
Right.
Like
Well,
just
no,
the
even worse. Even worse. The mom died at childbirth because the part of the curse is that the somewhere down the generation, the parents gonna have to kind of deal with a bunch of raise a bunch of kids, and didn't think it would be two kids who can multiply, and which drove the dad insane. And the dad was
I
like, "Take him
mean,
away, please."
yeah. I mean, I almost felt for him. You could just, I actually can't imagine.
Right.
It's like multiplying kids. Kids are already crazy, and then you just have
Right.
like an infinite amount of them. Just it's a lot. But yeah, it's funny. Not funny. I like the dynamics of how multiple can't forgive their dad,
Hmm.
but how his sister is like, we're never gonna see this the same way, right? It's just, it's they're both just, it's that life thing of, you can see one situation but from two completely different perspectives, and people are just gonna stand their ground. So I
Hmm.
like that little dynamic they have.
And
Happy
especially,
birthday to their dad.
and again, especially from his point of view of just like, okay, it's one thing for her to try and convince him, but from his point of view, it's like, but you're doing the same thing but worse. So
Yeah.
like you're blaming me for working for these bad people, but so are you. Like,
She's like, no, I saved the world from a nuke. It's like, okay,
okay, he's alive
whatever.
though. At the end of it, he leaves a little thing to show her that he's alive.
Hmm.
Though I also saw that also says he can break into their base. Yeah, what's security like that? Terrible. Because I don't know if his powers
Perfect
give him an
flight.
advantage to break into a base.
I mean, even if they do, still same point, right? I mean, 'cause I hear you, but as we've seen, he's definitely one of the more versatile characters in this show, right?
Mhm.
So I'm not at all surprised that he broke in there.
Let's talk about Invincible Inc. Yeah, now they don't work for Cecil anymore, and they can't have sexy time without Oliver making noises, complaining about them.
Yep, it's time
They
to move
decide
out.
they want their own place and time to move out, and but they need monies.
And then, just like all of us, they start to see. Well, he hasn't even checked, right? Mark asking his mom was so cute. Like, hey, how much does rent go for? I'm like, this. It's like, oh, maybe I'll get a part-time job. I was like,
Man can't
boy,
even doesn't know how to do
send
his own email
emails.
address. No, he can't create an email address. Not even
He's
send one.
like,
He doesn't have to create one.
and he's like, he was like curled up on Eve, like, you're so smart. And she's like, no, thank you, but I mean, it's actually not that hard.
No,
Let's calm down, boy.
like seriously, do you know how to use a computer? You should be able to create an
Yeah,
email.
yeah, yeah, just calm down. You fly across galaxies.
But I like through their narrative understanding that maybe this is not such a good idea. Maybe we're moving too fast, and then also on top of that, Mark kind of noticing that if I leave, I'm leaving Mum alone with Oliver, and she can't handle that by herself. Oliver's flying off at night. What's going to
Impossible.
happen there?
Yeah.
You know, and even Oliver's face of like, but I'm going to miss you.
I'm like, oh, little bro.
Right. I like that. Even if it's like,
Little bro.
yeah, it doesn't matter where in the world we live. It'll
Yeah,
take you 5 minutes to fly to me, but still, it's not
yeah.
the same.
5 seconds
Right.
actually, but yeah, you're right. Mark lied. It would not take 5 seconds, first of all.
I mean, it could. You probably kill a
I
whole
guess
bunch
it
of people
could.
along the way.
Yeah, it's just unnecessary. Completely unnecessary.
I also like that they kind of. I like again when they address things like addressing like, oh, when Mark's like talking about a house. Oh, you can just make us a house, and she's like, I tried that before.
And she's like, yeah, zoning laws and all that. And he's like, but that's funny because she did try that when she
Hmm.
redid the park.
Hmm.
It's so funny because he's better than me. I was gonna be like, I thought they were going to just make a house in the garden of their mom's house,
Hmm.
which would still probably affect the zoning laws, but you could probably get away with it a little bit,
Hmm.
right? Like kind of like an extension to the home, so just so that they can have their own space, but they're still nearby. That's what I was expecting, but guess they're not.
Well, you see, you're thinking way too small, darling. You
Ooh, I think
gotta.
that's an Inception quote for those of
There
you
you
that don't
go.
know.
Um, um, you're superheroes, right? Just do a Dubai, go in the middle of the ocean.
All right, fair enough,
Zoning
actually.
laws,
Yeah, like, okay, come on, zone this.
right? Just like Dubai, create an island in the middle of the ocean, goes anywhere,
and,
and boom,
and then you're good. Like, come
you're
on,
good,
Eve.
right? And your
Think,
power,
Mark, think.
right? Think about that. Like between the two of you, I'm sure you can build an island in the middle of the
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Pacific or somewhere. You know,
yeah. It'd be
and
like building sandcastles for us. Come on.
right. It would be like Inception, right? Building,
Literally.
right? Mark is. I love the moment when Mark is tricked by. We spoke about it quickly. Tricked by
Titan.
Titan, but like the punch moment, like and he stops. So that's pretty cool. Because Titan's like, I know you.
Yeah, I knew you were going to punch me.
I know you're not gonna punch me. But it ends up with them tricking him and bringing Liu over in dragon form, while his body's left unguarded. And I love Machine Head comes to kill him. He's like, I feel like it's cheating, but I
Cheating.
like
I
cheating.
love to cheat. Machine Head,
I love him.
my character of the just because you mentioned him, rewinding when he was being interviewed by Titan.
Mhm.
Um, oh no, he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, he crossed the line. Better report him to HR." It's just his sarcasm is just so good.
I love
Oh,
where he's like, um, whoa, 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 I'm not gonna fight you. You're like 6,800 pounds.
mm,
6,800 pounds? You'd murder
between
me.
you and me, isotope appears. Yep, yep.
Like,
Okay.
sends him away.
And also, wait, sorry, that dude didn't die. Just
Nope, he
broke
did
an arm
not.
from that height,
Yep,
and then he spat out a dragon.
yep.
What? What?
So all that. What do you think is that? What do you think Liu's retaliation is going to be like?
Bloody. What? I mean, look, look how he marked those poor prisoners. Absolutely, literally so unnecessary. Oh, it's. I think what keeps getting me about them for this show is there's just gonna be so many different threats, right? I'm like,
Right?
Angstrom is just in the. Angstrom to me is almost like having the reverse Flash effect that the Flash has, where you find it's just like
Mhm.
when you're just waiting for somebody to show up because you know they're waiting, they're just there in the shadows, and so I'm very stressed with the fact that the fact that tooth went that deep into Mark. This
Mhm.
wasn't just like a scratch, no, no, like you and Mark did all his moves to break his head, and nope,
I love that.
presto presto wando.
Nothing.
I am alive again. So it's gonna be messy, but I like the tie-in is out, but I don't think Leo is gonna be hearing that. This isn't gonna be he retired. That's fine. I'll just go after Machine Head and the others. No, Leo's gonna be pissed at them all.
Well, I mean, also, I like when Machine Head goes, did you miss me? Don't answer that because we all know the answer is you miss me so much you didn't do shit about it.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Because we see the other members of the
Yeah.
order, I feel like Leo's going to be like taking them out first to regain his position before again
I'm sure. Oh, fair.
I'm not saying anything based on what I know,
Yeah.
because also again this has taken some deviations, some of these stuff because I don't think we don't even see Machine Head in the Invincible story in the comics
Yeah.
after this. There's like side stories and side
Mm,
comics that we
really.
see him in, but we don't see him featured much. So it's kind of slightly different the way they're approaching it with the order and things like that, which again, as someone who reads the comics, I like. So here's my question to
Yeah.
you: now that's all coming together, you still have the greater threat, right? If we look at threat levels overall, I still think the Viltrumite army are going to come back to Earth. Threat is the biggest threat, but it's almost like the heroes are gathering an unknowing army because what do you think characters like Titan and Mr. Liu, what is their reaction to some alien threat coming saying we're going to take over the planet? Because
That's.
they're not
I'm
going
even
to,
curious. Yeah. What
right?
does what does a Viltrumite look like fighting against Leo?
Yeah, exactly.
That was almost rude to Mark. I know he is, but it's like I mean like Magneto was like I mean a real Viltrumite. No offense, Marky boy. I definitely Leo isn't the kind of guy to share turf, but I also feel
Exactly.
like he's not that he's a coward. I feel like he's also a smart person. He's not the Avengers. He's not going to go out and be like, aliens, leave this planet. Right? I feel like he'd kind of wait things out a little bit, let them whittle down some forces and then, you know, if when it comes too close, then he attacks. But
Mhm.
I mean, that's just my guess because I don't I don't know how far his little underground thing goes. Even the fact that wait, did his bodyguard did the bodyguard have a name? By the way, I just keep calling him
No, we don't
bodyguard.
get a name.
And his bodyguard. Like, did they both have dragons and now he gave up his dragon to give Leo back to life? I mean, don't answer. I'm never
Mm.
looking at you, so I don't read too
Mm.
much. But these are the questions because are their strength is the strength reduced? Is it still the same version of it? I don't know. I don't know. It's a lot of assumptions, right? It's almost like the Lazarus pit, right? Like you come back, but like a little bit crazy, right? If I'm not mistaken,
Mhm.
like Lazarus pit doesn't bring you back 100%. It's
No, no,
like
no, because death
90,
does a lot.
90, yeah, like 90% maybe or 89, right? And so each time you just kind of chip away. So Lou's already crazy, but now he's died and been reanimated. So
I
I'm
will
not sure.
say the fact that he has robotic
Jaw,
augmentations is
machine jaw.
is connected to his abilities. That's all I shall say.
Interesting.
in case his story gets explained.
Yeah.
Any small moments that we liked? Oh, let's talk about what I like about this show, and I think sometimes people kind of look at it as trying too much, overstuffed, but I look at it as it's kind of reminding us that the world is still living and breathing. You know,
Correct.
like when the characters are not being seen on screen, things are still happening.
Yeah.
So where I read some reviews, they didn't like the moment between Ray and Rex because
I
it
was
was
just
so.
about to mention that.
I love that moment because I
That was
love
one of
that
my
just we're
favorite
building
moments.
subtle moments between
Yeah.
the two of them. He cooks
Some
for her,
people not like that. People just sometimes need like high octane adrenaline injected into them to think that they're seeing something good. No offense to
right?
anyone, because I thought that was such a great moment.
Mm-hmm.
One, continuity,
Mm-hmm.
continuing the promise of the earlier episode.
Mm-hmm.
Two, giving her some normalcy. Three, like she says, she's like, this isn't normal, right? And but she still says thank you. So like you
Yes.
said, I agree because sometimes watch Alan get tested on. Sometimes just watch a dude order a meal kit and
Yeah.
make it
Right.
for his lady, right? So, I
Right.
mean, superheroes need fun too.
Right. I'll give it to Rex there. I mean, if the two of them actually get official, that's what, three of the team. He used to be with Eve. He used to be with
Kate,
Duplicate, and now Ray. I love that he
yeah.
couldn't spell Ray properly.
It's like, but of course he could have. Literally, of
He's
course.
like, Ray, script, Ray. I thought that was funny. Um, any other things moments that you like that we haven't spoken about?
When Mark was fighting the dragon, after he got his tooth in him, he was like, "You're a fictional creature, dude." Like, I don't know. I could feel his frustration, right? Like, just like, what am I fighting? What is this? And this is a guy that fights aliens and things, right? So
Hmm.
it just felt extra funny because it's
Hmm.
like, how?
Like
How is
it's a
this a dragon?
dragon, a freaking dragon, and this is a person who's fought. The last time he met Titan, actually, he fought.
Not the battle beast.
Yeah, Battle Beast. Yeah,
Not the battle beast. Battle
not the
beast.
Battle Beast. Yes, his name is not the Battle Beast. Yeah, like Battle Beast. So all these kind of crazy characters he has to fight. There's another moment I liked that I didn't mention.
Mine while you're loading is just the fact that Invincible Inc. did an acceptable job, which I thought that was a spot on description because my wife and I we're like, is she gonna pay them? But then yeah, they helped a lot, and Eve then redid the prison.
Hmm.
And just to rewind on that, Eve, that's my favorite character. As much as this is Invincible
That's
show,
what I was going to talk about. There you
came for
go.
Invincible, stayed for Eve.
Hmm.
Let's be real, because just the sheer wildness, that's not the
Hmm.
word. The sheer like epicness of her powers and the multiple ways you can use them is just great. And just the scene putting the prisoners back, and then with just making the little cells, and then making the whole cell and trying to lock
Oh, trying to catch
multiple.
multiple.
And then he still escaped. Honestly, just it's just a great scene overall, right?
Or when she puts on the battle armor,
Oh no,
and
I love that scene. And then gives Mark the whip, and he just starts
she
and
turns
he
into a
throws
mace.
her. Oh,
That was cool.
one of my favorite team ups.
That was a great team up. But ultimately didn't do much to the dragon.
No, nothing at all. Actually, literally, they
Tech,
probably just made him mad.
technically, Machine Head saves his life. I
Oh
mean,
wait, no, technically Titan, right? Because Machine Head was gonna wait till after. At
oh,
least that's
true.
what Titan said. Titan was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
Machine
yeah, yeah,
Machine
yeah.
Head had you gone, bro. But
This is true.
but I owe you. It's good.
He's
You
like,
you
I
my
love when it's
dolphin.
just like, okay, I'm going to take you to prison now. Like, sure.
He
Completely
could
ignores
barely
him.
speak. He's like, they take you to prison. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Good luck with
such
that.
a good guy, man.
Nice
Very
work
chill.
with you. I did like being
Thanks for your
carried.
help, bro.
There's still some bullshit.
But shit, it reminds me of whenever Superman has to carry Batman,
All right.
and he's just pouting like,
Ugh.
like
One
bro, be
subtle thing I
grateful.
like in terms of continuity, again, subtle things. When we go past, we camera pans in the prison, we see a Megamaniac and Tether Tyrant from previous
Oh
episode,
yes, and they're so happy
right?
to
They're
be
like,
to be having food.
and a place to stay, and they're not
They're like,
homeless.
we're not homeless. Like it's the little thing. They're literally so pleased.
Yay.
Oh my God.
And I also like little things like seeing, like, again, I don't like it obviously, but like the idea that they think about it. Like, so many people died just during Dragon's battle. just crashing into
Yeah,
the buildings and
literally, he
things like
stepped on
that.
at least like first of all, he stepped on like 10 people. The building's completely separate. When bodyguard fell on that building, I mean, I doubt he just like fell one floor. He probably fell a couple floors. That
Right?
building might have caved in too.
He was
We're
pretty
looking
high
at
up.
hundreds. Yeah, looking at hundreds in the body count. Guys, but all that just push it to the side. Oh, we didn't say the favorite quote. We said it off podcast.
Oh,
I'm not talking to you, slave
anybody else say?
mantis.
I love that he puts his hand up. I'm talking to you. I like, damn. I always love in a show where there's like one character someone bullies for
Yeah,
no reason.
yeah. Same. Oh my gosh, go home, Roger. If you know that, reference, you're
Now, given that
elder.
I took our poor old friend and previous leader, Mr. Liu, behind the proverbial woodshed, and let's be honest, shot him in the fucking head, that entitles me to his seat, and therefore the primo position in the order. Any objections? That's what I like to hear.
Like I said, good, good, good. Machine Head, it's nice to have him back. Even though I feel like I may be wrong, but I feel like it's going to be a short time at the top. Not that I
Mhm.
think he's going to die. I just don't think it's not happening the way he expects.
I agree. I agree. I think let him enjoy for now. And you don't. It's not even that you don't know because people are so scared of Mr. Liu that as soon as he comes back, I can feel like the rest of the order can be like, "Oh, sorry." Like,
You
are they
feel
gonna?
like? I mean, bro, even I would be like, like I'm not gonna lie, it'd be that bitch right there, like, oh, Mr. Lou, you're back. Oh my gosh, I was so scared. This machine head, he just came out of nowhere.
In fact, I bet you the original plan was for Isotope to go after the bodyguard right away. Isotope's like, no, we gotta fake them out. Let me pretend I'm on their side because
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
risking it.
yeah. No, again, I still one of my favorites. He does
He's
enough,
smart.
right? He doesn't ever tell you I'm on your side, but you can know it's almost like a little finger type of thing where it's like, hey man, whoever's in charge, I roll with you, but I'm always on you. You always feel like he's on your side. I feel, except
But
to
even
when
then,
he's
I
on
feel
his side.
like there's more nuance to him because I actually think he actually with Titan.
Titan, yeah,
Yeah,
sure,
he's not gonna outright betray him. He's just
yeah,
smart. He's just like, I get it, but
yeah.
he's a fucking dragon.
Yeah,
Like
like,
we had to
and
play
I
this
mean
smart,
big thing, bro. Spiritual thing. This is not
right?
even like physical dragon you can
Right?
harm.
Like I've seen him eat people. Like there's
Yeah,
one thing getting killed and shot, but I pissed off my boss and he ate me. Like think about that. And so he plays a smart game, and I'm sure it might have been he might have been the one that says, we need a plan. Like we can't just be like, what, this guy he crossed the line, came after my daughter. He's like, there is no line, son.
fam.
Like,
This line thing you keep saying, it's not the
like
place
how,
for this.
and he's always like annoyed at Titan. It's like, did you not? And even Machine Head alludes to the same. It's like, did you not know what you were getting into when you
No, I'm
decided
not
to
sure what
stab me
you
in the
think.
back?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think?
What were you actually expecting here? You're gonna come in and find paternity leave options? Like, I'm a little confused, bruh.
What did you say? Some lines of, oh, the thumb had a thumb on it, or something like that. Had a bigger thumb.
Oh yeah, when you get under the thumb, I found out that it was under a bigger thumb.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Machine Head, just top quotes. And wait, you
right.
said it on podcast, right? Because you just told me who the actor was, or was that on
No, that
podcast?
was on podcast.
Oh my gosh, wow, lines are blurring. But yeah, oh my gosh,
Mr.
my favorite,
Jeffrey
Michael.
Jeffrey
Yes,
Donovan, Michael West, and in fact, wife and I were talking about maybe revisiting that show. So good.
you should, and whoever
So,
hasn't seen it needs to see it. First episode is in Lagos, Nigeria. I
yeah.
remember because I watched and I was like, oh, what is this show doing? I just stayed for that, and no, came for that, and then I stayed for the tips on how to. It's like modern MacGyver.
Right.
I would, what would be great. Sorry, it's almost a segue, but it's not because I would love to see TikToks of just his advice,
Oh yeah.
just like I
If you
might
go
do that
to
myself. A compilation of if you ever find yourself stuck in the seventh floor of an attic,
or if you have to do evasive driving, people always think to drive
nothing.
fast. No, I actually drive very
Yeah,
slow.
slowly.
I
Like
love
little
all that.
thing. Fiona, should we shoot them? Sorry,
On that
Hawaii
note,
shirts.
what do
Yes.
you nerdies think of this episode? What do you think of what's happening so far? Those of you who read the comics, how do you find this translation? And how excited are you for what's around the corner? Find us on social media at The Nerdy Bunch. You can also find us an email, thenerdybunchpod@gmail.com. Give us some recommendations of what you think we should watch based on what we talk about. You should know we like nerd stuff, of course. Check out some of our other podcasts. We have the Nerdy Sports team doing all things sports. We
Yeah.
also have Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Andrew and I recently recorded the
Finale.
season finale, which was
Mind blowing.
mind-blowing. Also have, to our mind-blowing, we also have Severance,
Currently cooking.
currently cooking. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, David.
My name's English Dave, and this has been a Nerdy Bunch review for Invincible Season 3, Episode 5. My name's English Dave, and this has been a Nerdy Bunch review for Invincible Season 3, Episode 5. And as always, Andrew,
Keep it nerdy.
peace.